Namaskar, Sab Sanama, and these are the top stories of the hour. Nepali Congress leadership resort to a series of contradictory public statements leads to confusion among the party's ranks and files. Corruption watchdog CIA hands over clean chit to suspected individuals in as much as 94% cases, failed to take concrete action against high-ranking officials abusing power. Humanitarian aid groups report of cholera cases in Mozambique a week after the flooded Mozambican port of Beira was hit by Cyclone Idai, warns of other potential outbreaks in addition to increasing malaria. And India defeat Nepal 3-1 in the finals of the SAF Championship to crush Nepalese women's hopes of clinching the maiden international football title. An uncanny similarity has recently been witnessed between Nepali Congress President Sherbadu Dewa and General Secretary Sashanka Koirala, who have so far exhibited contradictory stances. Both the leaders were dragged into limelight recently due to their public remarks. However, none of them could defend their statements for even 2 hours due to intense criticism from in and outside the party. Nepali Congress President Dewa quickly supported the government's decision to ban the Netra Bikram Chand-led Communist Party of Nepal, just to pull back from his stance the very next day. Likewise, General Secretary Koirala said that he was ready to opt for referendum in terms of Hindu religion, federalism and even republicanism. He, however, backtracked from his statement within 24 hours. The remarks made by the Nepali Congress President and General Secretary themselves against the party's official policy and decision not only confused the party cadres but the public at large. Meanwhile, Congress President Dewa forced the party's lawmakers to boycott a parliamentary committee meeting, citing discontent over the appointment of 5 Constitutional Council officials without his consent. A series of such wayward incidents reveal how confused and unstable the party's leadership has become in recent days. Both party President Dewa and General Secretary Koirala were criticized in the past as well for their unstable remarks and activities. Analysts are of the view that it is obvious on the part of other leaders to refrain from embracing a joint standpoint due to the leadership tendency of making public statements and decisions in a single-handed manner. This has also been hampering Nepali Congress from playing an effective role as the main opposition. Now, the anti-graft body CIA has so far filed to effectively prosecute individuals accumulating massive illegal properties by misusing their power. The Commission has seemingly remained confined to taking action against relatively smaller corruption cases and the issues related to fake academic credentials. It has been revealed that the Commission itself acquitted 62 out of 66 individuals, including political leaders and government staff whose properties were investigated last year. The CIA filed cases against only 4 of the individuals on charges of amassing properties disproportionate to their income. They include erstwhile Director General of Inland Revenue Department Chudamani Sharma, former General Manager of Nepal Electricity Authority Mahindra Lal Shrestha, former Joint Secretary at Higher Secondary Education Board Devi Prasad Barakoti, and erstwhile Chief Tax Officer at Inland Revenue Office Bharatpur Tikaram Bhushal. The other 62 suspected individuals have, however, been freed from prosecution, citing that no illicit behavior was revealed in their incomes and expenditures. It is not necessary everyone dragged into prosecution are corrupt. We can take the case of former CIA Chief Lokman Singh Karki, who moved forward action against some individuals based on prejudice alone. However, taking into account the prosecution conducted by CIA, only 6% of the suspected individuals among political and government staff have been found to be involved in corruption, while the remaining 94% have been given a clean chit. If we are to acknowledge this figure as authentic, the country should be considered free from any serious drawback in terms of good governance. Otherwise, there should be a significant flaw in the Commission's investigation itself. By any means, it has been repeatedly revealed that the corruption watchdog has failed to live up to its responsibility when it comes to taking concrete action against the high-ranking individuals who have been involved in blatant abuse of their power and influence to accumulate a huge amount of illicit wealth. An investigation conducted by the anti-graft body CIA has revealed that a revenue officer at Pasthar's tax office earned over 18.2 million rupees through corruption in the past 7 years of his tenure. The probe has revealed that tax officer Man Prasad Bika was involved in massive corruption to garner the amount. The sources of the illicit earning are yet to be ascertained. Bika had worked as the customs officer at Bhairahwa Customs prior to this. Meanwhile, the corruption watchdog CIA has filed a graft case against Bika at the special court yesterday afternoon, demanding penalty equivalent to corruption amount. 16 houses at Shivaraj municipality of Kapilvastu have been completely destroyed following a fire breakout. More than 60 of the affected people spent the night out in the open last night as a result. According to the local police, the fire started from Budhai Kurmi's house at 3 in the afternoon yesterday. Based on the preliminary estimations, goods and properties worth 5.4 million rupees have been destroyed by the fire. 2 firefighters extinguished the fire with the help from the locals, Nepal police and armed police force. Victims have requested the government for support as all of their properties and belongings have been destroyed. Now, the United States Embassy held its 243rd National Day celebration yesterday in Kathmandu. Vice President of Nepal, Nanda Bahadur Pun, and U.S. Ambassador to Nepal, Randy Berry, raised a toast together for the continuation of a strong, deep and close partnership between the United States of America and Nepal. We have a report.
Addressing the program, Ambassador Berry highlighted the 72-year-long U.S.-Nepal relationship as joint triumphs, which he said was resulted through shared goals and a deep, meaningful partnership.
Nepal, this time as American ambassador, I'm really amazed at the progress that this country has seen over the decades since I last served here. And I feel abundantly fortunate to represent the United States at a time when Nepal stands at such an interesting inflection point. As I look back over the course of our 72-year-long relationship, it really is one of joint triumphs, of shared goals and of deep and meaningful partnership.
Ambassador Berry added that the 150 billion rupees worth of support that America expected to grant to Nepal over the coming 5 years would not be money or donor aid. He said that it would instead deliver global best practices, training and skills, and models for Nepalese to adopt and make their own to help Nepal become both prosperous and happy. Vice President Pun, the chief guest for the event, and Ambassador Berry observed the color guard presentations and national anthems of both the countries. Although the Independence Day of the United States is celebrated on the 4th of July, the day was marked well in advance in Nepal because of a number of reasons, including the annual monsoons. With Shailendra Chaudhary in camera, Prarambha Dahal for Kantipur News.
The application for the Korean language examination under the Employment Permit System (EPS) has been opened from yesterday. Although the application and examination fees can be paid online itself, the job aspirants have been found queuing up for a whole night at the designated banks to pay the fees. Alongside the facility of paying the fees of application for Korean language examination online, the deadline for application is still 8 days away. Despite having sufficient time for preparation, the application process for the language test for jobs in Korea has yet again been witnessed as being unsystematic and inefficient. Even the youths who are familiar with the internet have been forced to queue up for hours instead of being able to pay their fees online. More than 35,000 job aspirants have filled up the application forms on the first day itself. However, a majority of them have been unable to rely on the technology due to the lack of technical know-how and confusion during the application process. The EPS section has informed that the application fee of $24 can be paid through Global IME Bank, IME Pay or eSewa. Nepalese citizens who are between 18 to 39 years of age are eligible to take the exam. The applications have to be turned in by 31st of March. The Korean language examination will take place in Kathmandu and Pokhara on 8th and 9th of June. Service seekers at District Land and Revenue Office of Nuwakot are compelled to wait for hours even for minor works. In this context, we had asked the service seekers at Land and Revenue Office Nuwakot what should be done to improve the service delivery. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
अब अघिदेखि पुर्यौं पनि अब लास्टमा आएर अब खाजा खान टाइम भन्यो अब काठमाडौँ फर्किनु पर्छ हैन पुरेर बसिरहेछ
यदि काम गरे बाबत यदि पैसा लिनुपर्ने र अनि यो मालपोत कार्यालयमा यदि जना सम्बन्धीले चाहिँ
काम गर्न पाउने भन्ने हुनुपर्ने ठाउँमा अब बिचौलियाहरू बढी भित्रभित्र पसेर काम चाहिँ राम्रो र प्रभावकारी भएन।
ऐन कानुन हामीलाई थाहा छैन, उहाँहरूले भन्यो जे भन्यो त्यही सदा।
मान्छेले सजिलो खोज्छ, एकजनालाई यसो 200-500 दियो अनि त्यहाँबाट उसले सबै थोक गरेर ल्याइदिन्छ अनि हाम्रो बानी बिग्रिया देखियो के। यो हाम्रो पनि त्यसै गरेका छौँ, अरूले पनि त्यही गरेका छन्। अब यहाँ पनि चाहिँ कर्मचारीहरूले नै अब घुमेर पैसा पाउलान् हैन, अनि त्यही भएर उनीहरूले पनि त्यति जाँड चलाएर काम नगरिदिने अथवा अब बेचौलियाहरूसँग चाहिँ काम गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ सजिलो, उनीहरू भित्रको मान्छेलाई पनि सजिलो, बाहिरको मान्छेलाई पनि सजिलो भएको मेरो अनुभव छ।
Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And your question is, why are applicants queuing for hours to fill the forms for Korean language tests despite availability of online forms? Your options are A, lack of confidence, B, no technological know-how, and C, lack of publicity. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And with that, it's now time for the sports update.
Sports news.
India defeated Nepal 3-1 in the finals of the SAF Championship to crush Nepalese women's hopes of clinching the maiden international football tournament. Nepal matched India in the first half of the final played at Shahid Stadium in Biratnagar as the score ended at 1-1. However, India proved too good in the second half to clinch the final 3-1. India took the lead in the 26th minute with a spectacular free kick taken by Dalima Chibber. Nepal came back strongly with a goal by ace striker Sabitra Bhandari in the 33rd minute. The second half was dominated by India as they took the lead in the 63rd minute through Grisi Dangme. Anju Tamang sealed the 3-1 win in the 78th minute. This was India's fifth consecutive SAF Women's Championship victory. The defeat against India dashed Nepal's hopes of registering a maiden victory over India in the tournament final and clinched their first ever international championship victory. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Nepali Congress leadership resort to a series of contradictory public statements leads to confusion among the party's ranks and files. Corruption watchdog CIA hands over clean chit to suspected individuals in as much as 94% cases, failed to take concrete action against high-ranking officials abusing power. Humanitarian group reports of cholera cases in Mozambique a week after the flooded Mozambican port of Beira was hit by Cyclone Idai. Warns of other potential outbreaks in addition to an increase in malaria. And India defeat Nepal 3-1 in the finals of the SAF Championship to crush Nepalese women's hopes of clinching the maiden international football title. And those are our latest headlines. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.